I feel like something weird is going on between my best friend and my husband. I don't know if I'm making things up in my head or if their actions are actually suspicious, so I just need some opinions. My husband Ethan and I have been married for 4 years. We're both in our early 30s and we have been so happily married so far. He is a great guy and I know that he loves me a lot. In fact, the only time I've ever actually caught him lying is little white lies to protect my feelings. That I know of, he's never lied about anything big. He's never had any ill intentions behind a lie. It's just been little things to protect me. And my best friend Lena, we were roommates in college and we've been so close ever since. We're basically sisters. So here's the thing about Lena. She was in a 3-year long-term relationship, very, very serious, and they broke up a few months ago. Her ex was insecure and controlling, and the one thing I could never quite get my head around, which is now coming back to haunt me, is the fact that he hated Ethan. He hated Lena being anywhere near Ethan, and I never understood it. None of us understood it, apparently. But even if we were at a party with loads of other people, he would hate it if Ethan was there because he was in a close proximity with Lena, and it just made no sense. Anyway, after the breakup, Lena and I got even closer. We were always out together and Ethan was always tagging along. It was the three of us and it was comfortable. Him and Lena got on so well and I was never suspicious. It just felt normal and natural and I was happy with it. I actually remember her once saying to me, if you ever meet another man like Ethan, you have to set me up straight away. That didn't even set alarm bells ringing. I just thought, yeah, I will. Then we get to the night in question, which happened a few weeks ago. We had booked a concert, the three of us, and it was Ethan's favourite band. And on the morning of the concert, I woke up and I felt rough. I felt so ill. I actually got a doctor's appointment that same day, and they had given me medication. There was no way I was going to this concert. So Ethan wanted to cancel and reschedule. I said no. I don't want you to miss it. You and Lena still go. I actually phoned up another friend who was also free and she said she could go. Her and Ethan also got on very well. Everybody was comfortable with this situation. They went to the concert and I stayed home. And all three of them were sending me pictures all night. Major green flags. I had nothing to worry about. I knew the concert was finishing at 11 p.m, so I expected Ethan, after he'd dropped the girls home because he's just that kind of guy, I expected him to be home around 12:30. But because of the medication I was taking, I fell asleep much earlier than that. So you can imagine my surprise when I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning in an empty bed. I went downstairs and he wasn't there. So I checked my WhatsApp to see when his last message was. It was 11 p.m. He told me he was dropping the girls home and then coming directly home. Exactly what I expected. So where the hell was he? As I'm looking at our WhatsApp messages, I see his headlights appear in our front drive. And I don't know what came over me. I don't know why I didn't just wait there, wait for him to come through the door and ask him, did you have a nice night? Where the hell you been? Instead, I ran back upstairs. I jumped in bed and I pretended to be asleep. I think I wanted him to offer me the information without feeling like he had to give it. The guy didn't come upstairs. He didn't come upstairs, and I then didn't feel like I could go back downstairs. I needed to wait until it was a reasonable time for me to wake up. So I laid there, wide awake, sweating with panic and confusion for 3 hours. I waited until 6 a.m. and then I went downstairs. He was asleep on the sofa, fully clothed. So I woke him up. Did you have a good night? What time did you get in? He said he had a great night and he got in about 12:30. Now, I know what you're thinking at this point. I said, no, you didn't. I was standing in the front room at 3 o'clock when you pulled up. Obviously, that's what I said. I didn't really know what Didn't actually know what I was accusing him of outside of coming home late and lying about it. And I felt like if I gave everything away then and there, if I showed all of my cards and told him all of the information that I know, which I know isn't a lot at this point, but that gives him and possibly her the opportunity to hide things, to cover things up, to stop things, and then I never find out. So I said nothing, and I made a decision then and there to do some digging. So naturally, I've been trying to get them both in the same room together. I need to observe their behaviours around each other. And let me tell you, it has been impossible. Both of them have all the excuses under the sun when I invite them to be with each other. It doesn't matter what way round I try and do it. If I'm going out with Lena, where Ethan would normally be coming with us, he's got an excuse. If I invite Lena round, where I'm at home with Ethan, she's got an excuse. Neither of them ever used to have excuses. It just doesn't make any sense. So then we get to last weekend. We were invited to a party. They were in the same room together. I was watching. That's pretty much all I did at this party. I was just watching them. They didn't speak. They didn't even look at each other. The only time they went near each other is when one was already standing in the kitchen and the other went to get a drink. They didn't even look at each other. But I now have a plan. Tomorrow night, me and Lena are going for a meal. / tomorrow night, me and Ethan are going for a meal. They don't know that each other's going to be there. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, if one of them gets up and walks away, I've got my answer straight away. Something happened, right? But if they don't, then I finally have an evening where I can observe. I will, of course, update you, so watch out for part 2. I gave my husband an extremely dangerous allergic reaction by feeding my homemade banana bread to his mistress. And you know what? I'm not even sorry. 2 weeks ago, I came home from work early. Now, I didn't bother to let my husband know because, to be honest, I didn't expect him home. I didn't expect anybody home. My plan was to have a bath, not tell anyone that I'd come home from work early, just relax for an hour, and then my husband would get home. What actually happened was I turned up home to find my husband and our friend in the kitchen just laughing. Now, there wasn't too much to be suspicious about at first. They were both fully dressed. There was nothing untoward going on that I could see. And when I arrived, my friend's facial expression didn't change. She seemed very happy to see me. She threw her arms around me, cuddled me, and spent the next few hours talking to me. So everything seemed fine. It was only once she left that I kind of internally started to question how long she had been there and what were they laughing about. Because when I walked into the kitchen, I wasn't involved in the conversation. Nobody included me in the joke. We just started our own conversation. So it was playing on my mind a little bit. And then last week, my husband told me he needed to work late. This is not a regular occurrence. My husband never works late and doesn't really have the kind of job where you would need to work late. So it made no sense. I didn't question it. And then at the beginning of this week, my husband worked late. Again, I had my internal questions, but I said nothing. I need to reiterate that my husband's job is not the sort of job where you would need to work late. It's the kind of job where you finish at 5 o'clock and you forget about work. You don't need to think about it until you're there the next day. Is that kind of job, you know? So he calls me yesterday about lunchtime to let me know that he needs to work late. And I said, okay. And I don't know what came over me, but I had a plan. I had a terrible, terrible plan. My husband is highly allergic to bananas. So I went and bought some bananas. I made banana bread. And then I let my friend know that I was going to be dropping some banana bread round. And she was happy. Of course, who doesn't want homemade banana bread other than my husband? There's no way that he's going to come home and have a reaction in our house. I was on my hands and knees scrubbing that kitchen. It was sparkling. There were no remnants of banana in that kitchen. So I drop the banana bread round to my friend's house. And I leave. I get a call about 4 hours later. My husband had an extremely dangerous allergic reaction to bananas. I make my way to the hospital. And when I get there, the doctor starts to question me on, his allergies, what we have in the house, this, that, the other. In front of my husband, I say, "Doctor, I don't know how this has happened. The only thing he's allergic to is bananas. And yes, I did make banana bread today, but I have completely blitzed our kitchen. And that aside, he's not even been home yet, doctor. You see, I made this banana bread for our friend and I dropped it round there earlier and then this is the point when I turn to look at my husband. And I say, and I have no idea how it could transfer from her to him. How could that happen?" It's safe to say that he knew exactly where I stood at that point. I didn't say another word. I turned on my heel and I left the room. And on my way out of the hospital, who walks in? We are literally walking directly towards each other. The friend. See, I'm not normally the revenge type of girl. I'm normally the cut you out of my life, I will never have a need to see you again kind of girl. But obviously, I was in a relationship with him, so it was quite important that I did get my revenge. But her, I had nothing to say. So as we're walking towards each other, she calls me. She calls me to get my attention, to say hello, and to ask how he's doing. I look at her, and I tell her he's allergic to bananas. I'm surprised you didn't know. In fact, you should probably clean your teeth and wash your hands before you go up to see him. Clearly they think I'm stupid. Clearly they think I would never catch on to what they were doing. But I did catch on. And nearly killed him.
Am I the asshole for being mad at my husband for saying that he would choose his deceased wife over me? My husband was married once before me. She was his high school sweetheart. They started dating in their junior year of high school, and they survived long distance in college, and then they got married when they were 23. Very shortly after college, she passed away at 26, very unexpectedly. She had an aneurysm, and he was obviously devastated, especially because they were so young at the time. They never had children. He contemplated remarrying because he was so heartbroken, but we ended up meeting each other about 4 years after that. We got married when I was 31, he was 34, and we have 2 children together. Last night we were at a little friend potluck get-together thing, and everything was going really well until one of our friends brought up a new topic of relationships. She's newly divorced, so it was about her divorce. Others were chiming in about their past relationships from high school, college. I had said that I never thought that I was going to get married because my luck with men was always so horrible, and then I met my husband, and I'm so grateful to have met him and to have him in my life. After a little while longer, he brings up his deceased wife. All of our friends know that he was married before me and that she passed away pretty young. So he was talking about her, and then he all of a sudden just drops a bomb and goes, if she walked through those doors right now, we would just pick up where we left off. If I'm being totally honest, it felt like someone put my heart in a blender and literally kicked me in the gut as hard as they could. And everyone there could definitely sense the awkwardness that followed. I wanted to avoid making a scene, so I just laughed it off, but I think it was pretty obvious that it definitely hurt me. I just feel like if you really feel that way, then why are we married? I have never once asked him to get over his wife. I mean, I've never had a deceased partner or a deceased spouse, so I have no idea what that feels like. but I would absolutely never say that in front of my new spouse. After the gathering, I barely spoke to him on the drive home, and not even the entire night after that. I did tell him that what he said hurt me and that we could talk about it in the morning after I've calmed down a little bit, because I didn't want to say anything mean to him. But I ended up just sleeping on the couch because he would not leave me alone about it. It's now the next morning and I barely slept and he's still sleeping. I'm not really sure what to say or do about this situation.
Hey, we're getting ready. Fuck. I can't get these to stay to save my life. Okay, I put like half of a bonnet on to keep these out of my face. So I need to update you guys. Okay, I'm just gonna let it hang there. I don't even give a fuck anymore. Basically, me and Pizza Man have been long distance. We're literally long distance because he graduated college and he went to college in my area, but he lives like on the other coast of Florida. So it's only like a couple hours away, but I basically haven't seen him in a while because he's living there until he gets an apartment here. Yeah, but he's coming to see me today. It's 2:30 right now, and he's gonna get here at around like 4. And the plan was that he was gonna get here at like 12. Thank fucking God he didn't, honestly, because I've been like deep cleaning my entire apartment from yesterday till today, but I procrastinated so long yesterday that I didn't really get a lot done. When he gets here, he's taking me to seafood boil. I'm so excited. But basically, my dishwasher is broken, so I did a bunch of dishes yesterday. I swept and mopped. Today, I vacuumed my entire apartment, and I cleaned the bathroom. I cleaned all of like my bedding. I did everything, basically, you can think of. He hasn't seen my hair in person yet, so that's why I attempted to do it today. Attempted is the word I'm using because, well, look at it. Tomorrow we're going to breakfast at our regular spot, and we go there so fucking often that like the people know us there, and I fear they may not know who the fuck I am when I walk through the door. So I've been doing that 30-day Pilates thing, as I've said before, and it's actually really fun, and I've been trying to drink like a lot more water. So I've been drinking like 3 full Stanleys a day, like the 40-ounce ones. How much water am I supposed to be drinking? Like, I don't even really know. And then also, I'm a health girly now. I've been drinking kombucha. So basically, I am now the epitome of health, and I will live to be 150. And like, low-key, I feel like people are like lying. Like when they say like, oh, have you noticed any differences since you like changed your lifestyle, like done this? And mind you, I've only been doing this for a week, but low-key I feel exactly the same. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm sorry. And honestly, the same thing low-key goes for vaping. I'm so sorry. I hate to say it, but when I quit vaping, I really did not really notice much of a difference. People are like, I wake up with more energy in the morning. I feel great. Bitch, I literally feel exactly the fucking same. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I will say, I don't get those like I don't get like those like weird feelings in my chest sometimes. If you know, you know. I don't get those anymore, so I guess that's, you know, and I don't regret it at all. I'm so fucking glad that I don't vape anymore. I don't feel like I'm gonna, you know, die now all the time. Just like, let me know if you guys like have experienced the same thing. Like those pills are like the ashwagandha or like just any like health thing that's supposed to make you feel any type of way. I feel like maybe I'm just thinking about it too hard, but it's never done shit for me. Okay, I wanted to go supernatural today, and I did. In the next video, I'm gonna be taking down my hair. So yeah, love you guys. Bye.
She didn't fall in love with you because you remembered her birthday and bought her flowers on Valentine's Day. She fell in love with you because when you woke up in the morning, you said good morning to her before you checked your phone. She fell in love with you because when you went to the fridge to get yourself a drink, you got her one without even asking. She fell in love with you because when you had an amazing day at work and she came home and she had a terrible day at work, you didn't say, yeah, but let me tell you about my day. You sat and listened to her awful day and you didn't say a thing about your amazing day. This is why she fell in love with you. I can't tell you exactly what day, and it was no particular thing you did. It was the accumulation of all of those little things. Like, she woke up one day, and as if she pressed a button, she goes, I love him. And the same with the relationship. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency.
Don't nothing piss me off more than when y'all be acting so surprised when y'all find out studs get head. Like, why do y'all think we just use our strap 24/7? Like, no, bitches be eating me the fuck up. Ate off the bone, to be exact.
So I just got home from dinner, and I have been trying to decide if I even wanted to talk about this at all because it's horrible, but this past week, an Amber Alert revealed that my boyfriend of a year and a half has been cheating on me. The boyfriend that I was building a life with, picking out rings and shutter colors with. So an Amber Alert went off on my phone. My boyfriend was out at a beer with the boys before immediately going to the airport. He had been acting super strange. So when this Amber Alert goes off, I go in the bedroom. I immediately smell cologne. Weird to put cologne on to go out for beers with the boys. So I see the Amber Alert is going off on the watch. I go to silence it. I've already tried to call him twice. No answer. Earlier that morning, I had sniffed my pillow because I just felt like something was off. He called me crazy. He said I was a psycho. I looked around the room. I felt like things had been moved. I felt like my sink, all my stuff under the sink had been moved. Called me absolutely crazy. So I pick up his Apple Watch. I silence the notification, and I immediately get an "I miss you already" text. It is the girl that he has been in a full-on relationship for the past 2 weeks. Like, "Good morning, beautiful. I miss you. I'm in it for the long haul, blah, blah, blah," text. All the while, he's laying his beautiful little head beside me every night, still planning our lives. So this is a full-on dual relationship, like dual life, mastermind, next level amount of deception type of shit. So when I get that text, I obviously scroll through all the texts and everything comes out. Not only is it her, it's other women too. But she's obviously getting the crux of it. She's getting the copy and paste of the love bombing that I got last year. So granted, my entire life has flashed before my eyes, and every gut instinct I've ever had has just been like put in blinding lights. So yeah, that was my week. And moral of the story, there's so much of the story. I should probably do a part 2. Part of me doesn't want to do part 2 because I feel like, oh, like who needs to hear about this? But at the same time, this is crazy. Like, normal people do not do this to other humans, specifically ones they say I love you to, but like to anyone, because it's so cruel and disgusting and like quite literally puts people at risk, not only emotionally but physically, to engage in this kind of behavior. It goes against everything that they say that they stand for. But I also just feel like a full-on 10 minutes on this is cringe. So like, my moral of the story is, if I would not have gotten that Amber Alert, if he would not have gotten the Amber Alert, I would have never known this. I probably would have married this man with him acting this way and being capable of this type of behavior once I was pregnant, once I had kids, like for the rest of my life. And so legitimately, I feel like an Amber Alert just saved my life. I know that they're used for much more serious situations, but for me, like that Amber Alert just changed the course of my life. Y'all want a part 2?
Am I the asshole for flashing my mother-in-law after she told me that I couldn't breastfeed my own baby in my own house? I recently had a baby and I have been breastfeeding her regularly, okay? So this is something to note. My mother-in-law came over to our house unannounced, like she normally does. I was busy doing chores and she decided to go to the garden and pick a few things, and then she started to chat with me for a little bit, and then she went to go sit down on our couch to watch TV. So later, after I was done with everything, I decided to sit down and also watch TV because I was extremely tired. All of a sudden, my baby got fussy and I decided to grab her so I can feed her. And of course, I put my top down so that I can feed my baby. My mother-in-law seemed bothered because she then swung her head, just staring at me and saying, "Really? In front of me? Maybe I should take my top off too and just be naked, huh?" And then she proceeded to roll her eyes at me. And this is not the first time that she's made a comment about that, okay? I mean, it's a normal, usual thing. As a mom, it's my house. It's not like I'm out in public doing this. This is not the first time that she's ever made a comment. The last time she made a comment, I was very nice, very respectful. I went to another room in my house to feed my baby. And then my husband decided that after that incident, he wanted to buy me a cover so that I can just use it around my house. But my baby doesn't like it, so I don't use it. This time I had enough. I did not have everything hanging out. I was being very discreet and respectful because my mother-in-law was there. Not like I was showing her all my breasts. I was tired and I wasn't thinking, okay? So what I ended up doing, I stood up, I just took my top off and I said, I am going to feed my baby in my house whenever the hell I please. And I did tell her that if she didn't like that, there's a door, she could walk out whenever she wants. And all of a sudden, she looked insulted and said, oh my God, this girl. And she just got up and left. Yes, my husband was there. Apparently, he then got a text message from his mom that she was very mad. But honestly, at the time, I didn't know. I was super tired. I just acted and wasn't thinking, okay? But I don't think I'm the asshole for doing that.
Get ready with me to break up with my cheating boyfriend. I haven't seen him in a week, and this is the last time he'll ever see me, so I have to look extra good. So, backstory is his family has, like, a lot of family friends, and, like, I know this, and we've dated for over a year, and he's hung out with them, like, a few times. So, this didn't take me by surprise at all. He was like, we're going on a family vacation with both of our families. We're going to Mexico. I'm like, cool, that sounds so fun. Let's FaceTime. Like, obviously, let's stay in touch. Like what a good, loving girlfriend would want to do when she's in love with someone. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. We might not be able to every day because, like, they don't want it to be like a phone kind of vacation. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I respect it. I don't want to be like a controlling girlfriend. That's not who I am. So I know the family friend has like two like daughters, like one grade above him and a grade below him. So like I know that already. And they're in like a hotel, and he's like, oh, I'm sharing a room with my sister. She's showering right now because like I hear the shower going. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's his sister. I'm not thinking much of it, but I see like something on his neck. I'm like, is that a hickey? And he's like, no, like you're crazy. And like I asked like a few times, but like I didn't want to like be like, crazy because like I didn't really know. Then like the next day he's like, we can't FaceTime anymore. Like my parents are getting mad. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but fine. But here's where the story gets crazy. So he posts a picture on his like main Snapchat story, and it's like a picture like looking at the beach. But in the sand, there's like a heart with his initial plus one of the girl's initials, M. So I slide up and I'm like, oh my God, that's so weird and like funny. Like, did you like recognize this? Like, did you see that? Like, blah, blah, blah. Still not thinking anything of it. He's denying everything. He's like, there was nothing in the sand. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. And I'm like, I literally saw it. Like, now I'm getting sussed out. Now I'm like, this is so weird. Like, you could have been like, yeah, I saw that. That's what a coincidence. But no, he was like, that, like, it wasn't there. And I'm like, like, this is weird. So I had my suspicions. So I went to go find these girls' Instagrams. Turns out it was their 6-month anniversary vacation, just them two together, and I just had no idea. So congratulations to the happy couple. He doesn't know I know this though, and he thinks we're all good. But then I woke up from my dreams, so we're all good, and I can't wait to see him tomorrow.
My best friend's boyfriend just gifted me the most inappropriate birthday gift and asked me to use it with him. Story time. Okay, so the other week was my birthday. We're not going to talk about how old I turned because I don't want to be reminded of that, okay? And I decided to have some of my closest, nearest and dearest friends round. Really, really blessed with my friendship group, and especially one of my best friends. Let's call her Natalie. We've been best friends before we could walk. Like, it's literally been like one of them friendships. But a little while ago, Natalie got a new boyfriend, and to be honest, I don't really like him. Let's call him Mark, and Mark definitely gives me the creeps. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. However, he made Natalie and makes Natalie so happy. I can't be that friend that's like, he's weird, you can't date him. And one of the reasons Mark gives me such like the creeps is because he makes such weird passes to me. Am I being self-absorbed and like reading into this weirdly? I'm not. Anyway, I still invited him round for my birthday for Natalie's sake. When they both came round, obviously Natalie had a present for me. However, Mark also had a present for me. Natalie was laughing when he was like, oh, I've got you a gift, because she didn't know what it was. We just thought it was hilarious. I'll accept, obviously. Now, I am just so happy I didn't end up inviting my parents or family to this little get-together, because when I opened Mark's present, and I can't say what it is, but it was extremely inappropriate. I want to tell you, but I can't tell you the name of it. I, as a girl, would use it, maybe in certain situations. Okay, maybe if I was a bit lonely. You get it, you get the gist. And he gifted me this with my boyfriend sat next to me. Everyone's mouths obviously dropped because why are you gifting me said item? And then his response to everyone questioning why the hell he just gave me this was, I thought you would find it useful and I'd quite like you to use it in front of me. Speechless. And to be honest, I just froze. I didn't actually know what to say. My boyfriend definitely handled that situation. I'm just so shocked.
My boyfriend told me that he's not proud to introduce me to his friends because of my job. So my boyfriend and I have been together for a couple of years. My boyfriend has his doctorate degree and so do all of his friends. I do love the fact that my boyfriend is very driven, he's smart, and he's very focused on his work. My boyfriend's family is very status focused. They do care about what I do for work and they don't like the fact that I am just a CNA. No, I didn't finish college, but I'm still very proud that I was able to become a CNA regardless because I do make good money and I love what I do. But anyways, my boyfriend invited me to a dinner party with his friends. I was very happy because this was going to be a step forward. I haven't really been around his friends much and I just wasn't sure why my man didn't really bring me around them. Right before we left to the dinner party, my boyfriend got weirdly quiet and then finally said, "Please try not to bring your work up too much. I think that they would be a little judgy if you told them what you do for work." I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. And then he proceeds to tell me, "Well, it's not that I'm not proud of you, but I kind of feel like you're going to feel out of place with everyone else because of the degrees that we actually have that you don't have." So we proceeded to go to the dinner party. I wasn't really talking. I was very uncomfortable. I kind of felt like everyone was judging me before I could even walk in the door. It just felt so weird and uncomfortable. I was just smiling, trying to go up to my man's friends, just to introduce myself, but literally they looked at me, they saw that I was putting my hand out to shake their hand, to introduce myself, and they just blatantly ignored me like I didn't even exist. I then told my man that I was very uncomfortable, I wanted to go home. He said that he wasn't going to go home, but I could go home by myself. That he wanted to stay with his friends, even though they were treating me like shit. I definitely left because I'm not going to stand there and let people that have a degree treat me like I'm less, all because I don't have a degree. Once I get home, I get a text message from my boyfriend telling me that I embarrassed him, that I should have just stayed and ignored the fact that I was being treated like shit, because that's not what they meant to do.
Whoever ordered this deep dish pizza on DoorDash, I tried to call you and let y'all know I couldn't find the building. It had the perfect amount of cheese, pepperoni, sausage, ham, bacon, just how I like it. And I swear I'm not like this. I felt bad. Still do. I called and I text and you didn't answer. I'll tell you I'm here. You don't come out. You don't text back. What do you really want me to do? But you do have good taste.
Welcome to part 3 of how I got cheated on by my 3-year boyfriend in broad daylight. Go back and watch part 1 and part 2 because you will be confused. But yeah, so I told my parents that I want to go to his house to tell his parents, and they were like, look, we fully support whatever you want to do, but just letting you know, if you go and do this, this is the end of it. Like, there's no coming back from it now. So a lot of you will probably think this was a crazy move. But to be honest with you, I'd obviously built a relationship with them. I knew them for 3 years. Obviously, basically lived in their house for 3 years. And I didn't know what way he was going to spin the story. And I don't know. I kind of seen them as second parents to me. And I just wanted to tell them. So I did tell him I was going there to do this. And he was okay with it. He was just like, yeah, you do what you need to do. Because at this point, I had the control. I just texted his mom and was like, hey, are you home? And she was like, oh yeah, like, are you looking for the rodent? And I was like, oh no, like, I'm just coming over. So she was obviously like, what is going on? She obviously thought something had happened, but like never anticipated this. So yeah, my mom dropped me over and I just walked into the garden and they were like, what happened? They knew straight away something happened. And I just told them, and they brought me into the house. They were very, very shocked. I'm not going to go into too much about this part because, basically told them, very, very shocked. Of course, they were under the whole impression of, nope, this is going to be fixed. There's no way this couldn't have happened. Like, we were fixing this. Everybody was so, at the time, loved us together, and like everything was just so perfect that this couldn't have happened. Like, so his mom gets onto him and was like, yeah, you need to get home, like, to obviously your home house, and this is all going to be sorted. So I went home anyways, and obviously, like, I'd be the first person to be like, if your boyfriend cheats on you, you're gone. There's no coming back from it. That is it. But when it happens to you, you're trying to think of every possible scenario. Like, can I fix this? Can I get over this? Can we get past this? Because it's scary. Like, one minute you're with someone and like, you know, you're in love and all that cringy stuff. And then the next minute they're literally gone. Like this, their decision, they're dead. Like to me, that person I knew before that night is dead. And you know, it'd be so different if he had been a prick for the whole relationship, or if I'd seen it coming, or if there was any inkling in the past that this could be a thing. And obviously, as I said at the very start of the story time, he did something like this when we were only seeing each other, and like maybe I should have known then, but to be honest with you, no, I don't think this is any way the same. Like a 3-year relationship, to go and do that is just beyond even, I can't even fathom it. We had a holiday booked 3 weeks later, like we were just finishing college, like there was no reason for this. Like this was just so out of the ordinary. So to my shock horror, it had already made its way into Dunn's where I worked, which again was my biggest fear because I spoke so highly of this man. Like whenever relationships would come up and people would talk about cheating, I'd be like, oh my God, like cheating is so common, but my boyfriend would never. Like he's the one person on this planet that would never cheat. And looking back now, I'm so naive. Like my mom had always told me, never trust anybody 100%. And I was like, well, I'd rather trust him 100% and get hurt than not trust him and then be worried 24/7. So I suppose you kind of pick your battles there. Luckily, only 2 girls knew because the fella that got it from the group chat had sent it to one of them and was like, do you want to send this to Casey? Because like I would have been friendly with her. So the 2 of those girls promised not to tell anybody. And the way it was nice to have some people in work that knew, because that way when I had to go back to work, I luckily had like 4 or 5 days off after this anyways. So when I had to go back, you know, if I needed to have a breakdown or anything, they knew why and it was fine. It was still pretty shit though, because at the time I didn't know what I was going to do. And if I was going to forgive him, which looking back now, I didn't, and thank God I didn't. I didn't want people to know like, oh, her boyfriend cheated on her and she got back with him, you know? And now I really do have sympathy and understanding for people that do get back with their cheating boyfriends, because it is really difficult. Also, can I just mention, at this time, he's still denying it. Like, I have video evidence and he is still denying it. Like, I don't know what was going through his brain. I think he might have been having some kind of episode, because if you're going to deny something that's on video, God help me if I didn't have those videos. So that evening rolls around and myself and the Rodent decide to meet up in person to talk about this, because this over text we were getting nowhere. So his mother had to drive him to meet me because he was too upset to drive, apparently. Poor you. So she collected me and I got into the car, and like it is the weirdest feeling, like getting into the car with your current boyfriend who has cheated on you the night before with his mother. Like, it's like a movie. Like, oh, we go down to my local canal and we just walk down and we sit down somewhere, and I'm like, right, so what happened last night? Bear in mind, he's still trying to deny this. So I made him sit through the videos in slow motion, zoomed in, like dragged the clips, and I was like, what is going on here? You need to tell me what is going on here. And he was like, yeah, basically that's what happened. And I was like, no, you need to say it. You need to say it. Like, what did you do last night? And he was like, I was unfaithful. And I said, no, what did you do? And he said, I cheated on you. And that's when it hit me. Obviously it was real and it had happened, and I had been sent footage and I knew it had happened, but hearing it from his mouth, I cheated on you, words that were never ever going to be said were now said, and it was real. He's adamant that we can fix this, and he's adamant that this is going to get better, and like this is just going to make us stronger and all this bullshit. And I'm just like, this is the one thing we've always said we will never ever be able to get past. He tried to make himself sound better by being like, oh, the lads do it all the time, the lads have done worse, the lads this, the lads that. I don't care what the lads do. You're your own person and you chose to do this. So all of a sudden, this fella who's so against cheating is hanging around with lads that cheat all the time and trying to make it sound better that he did it because they do it all the time, like, and they do worse. I just can't. So I didn't want to make any rational decisions there and then. So I just said, look, let me just think about this, because in all seriousness, I knew that this was the end. I couldn't possibly look past this, but I was way too afraid. Like, when you're with someone from when you're 18 to when you're like 21, it's a big chunk of your, not your teenage years, but like your college years. And like, it was going to be a huge change. And I was so embarrassed and I didn't know what to tell people. So I just couldn't make a decision straight away, even though I knew deep down this was the end. So the next 2 weeks, we like to call them in this house the mourning period, as in mourning a death. I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't shower, I couldn't eat, I couldn't be left alone, I couldn't go to the toilet on my own, I had to have the door open at all times. Now, this might sound so dramatic and so ridiculous, but I'm just the kind of person that takes everything like 10 times more seriously than everybody else. And obviously your first boyfriend, first love, first everything. and it's just taken away from you overnight. Like, to be betrayed so publicly, like for you to go out in Dublin, where I know so many people between school, college, the Gaeltacht, just from knowing people, like to go and get with someone in public, it is so embarrassing for me and such a betrayal. Like, do it in private at least. Like, to be doing it in Flannery's, like, Jesus Christ. And he was the one person that'd be like, you better never make a show of me, you better never text any other lads, or like be trying to with my friends or any of this crack, as if I ever would. And then you go and get with someone in Flannery's. Questionable. I also meant to reiterate, he told me that he didn't know this girl. Why are you talking to a girl all night that you don't know? He told me that she knew he had a girlfriend. Now, I am pleading with the public here. If you are that girl in those clips that I've showed, if you are her friend, if you know her, please contact me, because I would be dying to know. If you didn't know he had a girlfriend, amazing. No hatred towards you. If you did, embarrassing. I personally, I don't want to be like, oh, fair play to him or whatever, but in the first couple of videos, he is kind of like rejecting her a bit. In my opinion, he should have told her to, you know, where to go at that point, but he didn't. So I personally think that she knew he had a girlfriend, because why would you be like continuously trying to get with someone if they were rejecting you if you didn't know? I feel like she knew he had a girlfriend and she was like, right, I'll crack him eventually, and she did. Genuinely would say they're the worst 2 weeks of my life. I literally just sat in my room screaming, crying. Now, I did go back to work after like a week and I was able to hold it together, thank God. But I did cry in the bathroom a couple of times. During these 2 weeks, my Shein order for Croatia arrived. Like, it was horrific. And like, I would never wish it on my worst enemy, ever. Yeah, during these 2 weeks, yeah, we were still officially together, but like, it was kind of just me taking time, thinking, can I get over this? Can he prove himself to me? He was getting me flowers. We met in person twice during this period. And it's so weird because the person in front of you is a person that's done this to you, but it's almost like you want to tell them. Like, I wanted to be like to him, oh my God, you won't believe what the rodent did. But he is the rodent. Like, it's just, you want to hug them, but you also want to kill them. Like, it's like the one person that you would go to for everything, for help, has now done this to you. It is bizarre. I went to his niece's first birthday during this time. Don't even ask. I feel like this is stuff that you hear on like Jeremy Kyle. Like how did I go to his niece's first birthday after he cheated on me and act normal? Now, I look like I was hit by a bus, but it was that day that I decided, no, I can't do this. This is never going to go back to normal. So we met up then for the third time in person, and we both just knew that this was kind of the end. So obviously, like, it's really sad, like, as well. Do you know, I don't regret the 3 years. They were a great 3 years as far as I know. So yeah, there was tears, there was crying, there was hugging, there was reminiscing, there was the whole shebang, you know yourselves. And then the anger came out and I was like, you are a sick freak and this is why we're breaking up. And I broke up with him. Now, of course, many versions of this story probably went around and God knows what he actually told people. I heard rumours back that it was a mutual breakup, that I was crazy. If you believe anything from this story, I think it's very evident that I was far from crazy and the whole thing was because of him. And I broke up with him because he cheated on me. No other reasons. Well, actually, there is a lot of backstory to why this whole thing was so bad, which I'll go into in another video. It was actually too deep to get into in this video.
My family is pressuring me to give my little sister my dream wedding venue because she needs it more than me because she's pregnant. For some background, my fiance and I have been together for 8 years, engaged for 3. I know what you're thinking. A 3-year engagement, that's insane. But it makes sense. I was in school for the beginning part of our engagement, and I didn't want to deal with wedding planning while also in school. And also, I have a dream wedding venue, okay? This has been my dream wedding venue since I was a little girl, and I checked in as soon as I got engaged to see what dates were available, and there was a 3-year wait list. I talked to my fiance, and he said that since this venue was so important to me, he was totally fine doing a long engagement. Call me extra if you want, but I could not imagine myself getting engaged anywhere else except for this venue. It's literally been on every single one of my Pinterest boards since I was 9. So 3 years ago, my fiance and I booked my dream venue for January 2025, only in a few months. Everything's basically booked. We have all of our vendors, the caterers, the photographer, everything. We are ready to go. Here's where the drama starts. Yesterday, my family threw a big family barbecue for our entire extended family, and that is where my little sister announced that she was expecting with her fiance. Everyone was really excited for them. We all love my little sister's fiance. He's a great guy. They were supposed to be getting married at the end of 2025, and that's when my grandma asked, hey, so you still planning to get married at the end of 2025? You're gonna have a newborn. And that's when my little sister says that they actually want to push up their wedding to January. Yes, January. Yeah, that's when I'm getting married. If you guys forgot about that. I didn't say anything, no big deal. I can share my wedding month. I'm not that much of a bridezilla, and I get it. I mean, I don't really get why she couldn't get married in February or March, but, whatever. She's pregnant. She wants to get married as soon as possible. But obviously when my little sister says January, we all are kind of taken aback because that is soon. So my grandma responds, well, do you have anything planned? Where are you going to have this wedding? And that's when my little sister turns to me with big puppy dog eyes. She says to me, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, Kels. We were hoping that we could just kind of take your venue. Take my venue? My dream venue that I've waited 3 years for? And she knows this. She knows this has been my dream venue. She's known it was my dream venue since I was 9 years old and she was 7, okay? So this ask is not a small ask. And she's obviously putting me on the spot in front of our entire family who are just expecting me to cater to my little sister like everyone does, okay? She's the baby of the family, the youngest of all the cousins, so she's always gotten everything she's wanted. So they're just looking at me like, oh, what a nice thing to do for your little sister. No, okay? I'm nice, but I'm not that nice. After a few seconds of me not saying anything, she continues. She's like, everything that you've planned for your wedding so far is absolutely stunning, and it's just going to be too stressful for me to try to plan something right now while I'm pregnant. So I just think that would be the right thing for you to do, to just give me your venue and all the things you have planned. Not only does she want the venue, yet she wants my caterer, she wants my makeup artist, she just wants to take my wedding, boop, switch out the bride and groom. It's them. That's what she wants. We can just send little updated invitations that say that there's going to be a different bride and groom, right? It's that easy. That's when my little sister's fiance jumps in and he's like, we talked about this. We said we weren't going to put her on the spot. And my little sister looks at him and is like, don't be like that. Of course she's going to give the venue to her little sister. We're not putting her on the spot. I mean, yeah, you are putting me on the spot. Then my little sister says, Kels just wants what's best for me. It's no big deal, right? And finally, I respond. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is a big deal. And not getting the immediate yes that she expected from me causes her to lose it. She bursts into tears and runs out of the family barbecue. And everyone's looking at me with the most disappointed looks, like I'm the villain. And that's when the disapproving comments start. My grandma calls me selfish. My mom is like, Kels, you waited 3 years to get married. Would it have really been that bad to just wait a few more months? Do you not get that it wouldn't be a few more months? In order for me to have that venue, I'd have to wait another 3 years. I did not wait 3 years to get married just so that I could then not have that venue. And I'm not waiting another 3 years to get married. That's absolutely absurd. If it would have been easy enough for me to just plan another wedding at my venue, I would have done it for her, even though it's an extra request. But it's just not feasible. My dad calls me that night, and my mom and my little sister are both on the other line. He tells me that why should it matter where I get married? It doesn't matter what the venue is. All that matters is that I'm getting married to the person I love. Okay, if the venue doesn't matter, then why can't my little sister just pick up something that has an opening in January? There's lots of venues that have last minute openings in January, just not one that she would want. I tell my family, I'm like, listen, I will help her plan her wedding, but she's not going to use my venue. She's going to have to get her own. And that's when she starts losing it on the phone. She's sobbing. She's like, this is so unfair. You always get everything you want. I'm sorry. Should we do a recap of our childhood? Because that is not the case, Missy. My parents are like, Kels, just do this one thing for your little sister. When has she ever asked you for anything? First of all, she asks me for everything, all the time. And when she's not asking me for things, it's because she's already gotten them from asking for my parents. I said it's pretty clear that she just wants my wedding. She wants all of my planning and my venue and all of the work I've put in. The easiest solution to me is if she wants my wedding venue so badly, why doesn't she get on the wait list for 3 years? And by the time it's her wedding, she won't be pregnant anymore. Look at that. Crisis averted. The drama that this has caused is absolutely absurd. Certain members of my family are threatening to not even go to my wedding because they say I'm being selfish and I'm causing my sister so much unneeded stress during her pregnancy. My fiance's family is super angry at my family for even bringing this up as an issue because, again, they've all made plans to attend our wedding. It would be a huge inconvenience for their family to change all of these plans as well. I don't know what to do because I am not about to give up my venue, but also I don't want my little sister to be upset, and I also don't want my family not coming to my wedding. Okay, put your helmets on because this update is a wild ride. And in case you didn't see my last video, go watch that and then come back and watch this update. But in summary, my parents told me that they wouldn't help fund my birthday trip if I didn't take my bratty stepsister with me. When all this was going down, I honestly had no idea what I was gonna do or how I was gonna supplement the funds for the rest of the trip. But I have the most amazing friends ever. And when I told them the situation, every single one was just like, we'll just pay more to go. Like, do not worry about this, Kels. They have all met my stepsister and my stepmom, so they completely understand the situation. And none of them wanted Leah there, let me tell you. So I went to my dad and stepmom and said, thank you so much for your conditional birthday gift, but I no longer want it. I told them that me and my friends were gonna be paying for the entire trip ourselves, and that way, Leah does not have to go. And this is not what my stepmom wanted. She started flipping out, yelling at me, telling me that this is terrible, I'm a terrible big sister. And my dad is just sitting there, just blinking, not saying anything, just like, ah! She said, Kels, we can either do this the easy way or the hard way. Like, what was she even talking about? Which I later learned what she was talking about. But in the moment, I was like, what do you mean? Okay. Kind of cryptic, kind of dramatic. And I was like, we're just not gonna do this anyway. And I ended up just leaving in the middle of the conversation because the woman, let me tell you, I know where my stepsister gets it from for sure. So the day comes that me and my friends are leaving for my birthday trip. We drive the 3 hours, get to the Airbnb, and it is perfect. We're having the best time hanging out. Some of my friends actually drove in from different cities, so I hadn't seen them in a little bit, so we were just catching up, having the best time. Until I got a knock on the door. And everyone who was invited was already there, so I was like, maybe it's the Airbnb owner. It wasn't the Airbnb owner. When I open the door, I see my stepmom and my little stepsister standing out there. Leah has 2 different bags. We're there for the weekend. You're 12. Like, why do you need 2 bags? And my stepmom goes, guess we had to do this the hard way. Have a good weekend, baby. Like, saying bye to my stepsister. I'm like, I'm speechless. And I'm trying to stop. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like yelling at my stepmom. My stepmom's walking back to the car. I'm like, excuse me, like what? I'm sorry, what? No. And she's like, bye, have a good weekend. Like, not even acknowledging me. I'm like chasing her out. Like, excuse me, this is not happening. She gets in the car, drives off. Literally does not even acknowledge me. And at this point, I am truly speechless at the audacity of this woman. It is absolutely insane. I am paying more. My friends are all paying more, so this situation wouldn't happen, and she didn't care at all. She just cared because Leah was throwing a temper tantrum, and she doesn't know how to parent her daughter. She doesn't know how to tell her daughter no. So I bring Leah inside. All of my friends' faces dropped as soon as they see her because they're so confused. And Leah immediately starts screaming and running around and taking people's stuff out of their rooms that we've already like assigned and saying like, this is my room now, like throwing everything. And we're all just standing there watching this, mouths hanging open, not even knowing what to do. And that's when my best friend looks at me and she says, I'm calling my mother. Now for context, me and my best friend have known each other since childhood, and her mom was the assistant principal at our middle school. And I don't know if you guys had a assistant principal like this, but it was like you would much rather get sent to the principal's office than the assistant principal's office because she was scary. Now, as an adult, I absolutely love her. We're so close and she's done so much for me. But when I was 12 years old, let me tell you, I was not a fan. She is strict, doesn't take any nonsense from anybody, and my friend, she was parented very oppositely to Leah. And this woman was the absolute hero of our trip, because within 3 hours of my best friend calling her mom, she was at the Airbnb ready to be the babysitter for the weekend. She said we weren't even gonna know Leah was there. And honestly, we didn't. If we were downstairs hanging out, she would have Leah upstairs. And anytime we would hear Leah starting to have a temper tantrum, I don't know, somehow this woman fixed it. She was parenting. She was parenting Leah in a way that Leah had never been parented before. And honestly, it worked. Leah was way better behaved than she'd ever been. But within 24 hours, Leah was ready to go home because she was over the fact that we weren't hanging out with her. We were going out and doing our own thing, and she was stuck at the Airbnb with my best friend's mom. So she called my stepmom on her phone, obviously. You know, she has the newest iPhone. That's like not even a surprise to anybody. And my stepmom showed up at the Airbnb unannounced to pick Leah up, and she was not happy. She starts yelling at me how terrible I am and the fact that I didn't bring Leah around with me everywhere. And I told her, I was like, listen, we had plans and Leah couldn't do those things because she's 12 and we're all in our mid-20s. And my stepmom's like, you should have rearranged your plans. Like, there are so many great movies out that Leah could have gone and seen, and you guys could have gone to the movies and done that. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not a babysitter. It is so kind. Like, you should be thanking my friend's mom for coming and babysitting, because there would have been no one to watch her if she didn't show up. And I'm not proud of this, but as she was yelling at me on the porch, just yelling, I just closed the door in her face. And she started just yelling louder, and I was like, bah, just walked away and just went back to my friends. I was like, you can just keep yelling on this porch, but I cannot listen to your yapping anymore, ma'am. Goodbye. I'll see you after the trip. And I mean, call me naive, but I kind of thought that she'd be over it by the time I got back. My stepmom's a dramatic woman, you know? She gets mad about everything, and then she's over it the next day like it never happened. So I just thought by the time I got back, whatever. Bygones would be bygones. We could move on from this experience. But my stepmom, nope, she was not ready to move on from this experience. When I walk back into the house after the weekend, you know, ready to chill, ready to, you know, unpack my things, my stepmom and my dad are in the living room sitting, not looking happy. My stepmom has her arms dramatically crossed. I just knew it wasn't going to be good. And my dad says, Kels, we need you to come sit down. And I proceed to sit there as my stepmom berates me for over an hour about how terrible what I did was and how I made Leah feel like she wasn't wanted there because I just passed her off to a babysitter. I was like, she wasn't wanted there. On my birthday trip with all of my friends, she wasn't wanted there. I'm sorry she felt that way, but that is reality. But to top it all off, my stepmom passes me a printed off piece of paper that has all of the expenses that she had for her trip to and from the Airbnb, from the gas money to all of the snacks that she bought on the trip. And let me tell you, she bought Leah a lot of snacks. I started laughing so hard. There were literal tears in my eyes. I was like, you cannot be serious. Like, you cannot tell me that you actually expect me to pay for your gas, for you to come and try and ruin my birthday trip. No. And I look at my dad. I was like, Dad, can you please? And he was like, you know what, Kels, I'm really disappointed in you. And I was like, you know what? I'm disappointed in you because you were never like this. You would have never done this before you were married to your new wife. And now you're treating me like I'm in the wrong when I'm clearly being treated unfairly. So now we're basically in a standoff, and my stepmom, my dad said that they refuse to talk to me until I apologize to my stepmom, Leah, and I pay her back the money I owe her. So I don't really know what to do.
I took my fiance home to meet my family, and I left with no fiance. I got engaged in February of this year to Mark. We had been dating for 3 years prior to getting engaged. It was honestly heavenly bliss until I took him to meet my family. Everyone was so welcoming and genuinely happy for us. Before the trip was over, my oldest brother suggested a camping trip up north with all of us siblings and all of our partners so that they could get to know my partner outside of like being with my parents. I was reluctant because I don't really spend this much time back home, but I eventually just just agreed. The trip was going really well, so I decided to let my guard down and I started really enjoying my time in the mountains with my siblings. However, the day before the trip was over, everything changed. My sister and her husband were on their 17th argument of the day, and it was only 11 a.m. by this time. Her husband stormed out of the cabin and she just stayed there crying. I honestly don't do well with other people's emotions, so I suggested a hike so that we could kind of clear our heads. My fiance suggested that just us siblings go so that my sister could talk freely if she wanted to. I asked him if he was sure, and he said that he really needed to check some emails, so he would do that while we were out anyways. This is where the story kind of starts. Early on in the hike, my sister just said that she just wanted to go home, and I offered to walk her back to the cabin, and she said that she just wanted to clear her head. We continued our hike, and she walked back to the cabin, and then a little bit later on in the hike, I just really wanted to go home and shower, but my brother and his wife wanted to keep exploring, so I went back to the cabin to go shower. My sister's car was still outside, even though it was a couple hours later on in the day, but I just ignored it. I figured that she just hadn't left yet. I go into the cabin and I hear some faint, familiar moans and a very familiar grunt. I went upstairs only to find my fiance and my sister together in the worst way. At that point, something broke inside of me, so I took a picture of what I saw and I quietly grabbed all of my stuff, went downstairs, left my ring on the counter, and left. As I was leaving, I sent the picture in my family group chat and then I just turned my phone off. The next day, I turned my phone on and I had 47 missed calls from my family and like 100 text messages from my fiance. Apparently, my sister's husband had gotten the text as he was returning back to the cabin, and I guess he was not nice to my fiance. Initially, I felt very justified in my actions. I hate it, but I did. Obviously, I know what they did was terrible. Me sending that photo in the family group chat was gross, and I just got innocent family members involved for no reason. And they definitely didn't deserve to get dragged into this. My engagement is over and I removed myself from the family group chat, and I haven't even spoke to anyone about it since it happened.